So it's the first half of January. This time is the most notorious time for people kickstarting their fitness journey. I say notorious because it can either go one of two ways. You can either be one of the January quick win, quick starters, and then in February you're back to square one, or you can be the one that finally does this right in the right way and plays the long game to make this the last time they set a New Year's resolution to get in shape. So we're speaking specifically for those action takers who have started for January the 3rd specifically who maybe at the start of their journey right now, and they're looking to make this the last ever diet that they go on to finally get into the shape of their life for life. So first phase of the RNT journey is cleaning the palate. So cleaning the palate is all about regaining control of your day. Let's discuss some of the best tips for someone who's cleaning the palate, potentially a little bit more about cleaning the palate, the key principles that you're going to be learning in this phase, what to take away, and what success looks like in the first month to set yourself up for long-term success, as opposed to just rebounding and falling into that yo-yo cycle that's all too common.
So I would say it's just finding some structures in a day that are going to be sustainable moving forwards. So getting like some set meal times, getting time to exercise, whether that's going to the gym or doing some cardio or doing it at your house, whatever, having some time to go for a walk, getting your sleeping in order, basically just recalibrating your daily timetable. Because I think a lot of people come out of that Christmas period, you don't know what day of the week it is even, let alone what time of day it is. In the UK, it's dark so much of the time. Like I think almost like your body clocks, it's hard just to run kind of naturally or organically. I think just setting a daily timetable so you just know what you need to do, because one of those sayings, if you try and make time, or you need to make time, not try and find it. Trying to find time, we all live busy lives, time will go by and there's not going to be a free hour just that opens up in your day. So it needs to be blocked out in advance, and if you build it around those basic health practices, things like I said, like sleep and nutrition, movement, that can give you a really good framework, not only for getting them in, but then you can fill it with everything else as well. Okay, well, I can do my work around that, family time, household chores, everything else. It just gives you that framework to then work around.
Yeah, agreed. It's about creating that time, and the way I like to think about this CTP phase is you want to eliminate as much decision fatigue as possible, and this is why we recommend like a set meal plan or things that you do not have to worry about, right? And as it said, you want to find times within your day where you can actually book a training session. You make an appointment. You're always more likely to show up to an appointment versus just being like, oh, I'll go when I feel like it. That's like saying, oh yeah, I'll go get my vaccine when I feel like it. No. You have to make your appointment to go get it. Otherwise, you're just not going to, or you'll keep delaying it, especially
by yourself.
Exactly. So I had to make the appointment, right? But it's the exact same principle in other areas of life, right? It's if I want to do something new, if I want to start something different, you can follow the same CTP principles to minimize that friction, right? Because that friction initially is the hardest thing to overcome, and the less friction you can. The more friction you can overcome in those initial phases, I think the easier your entire process is going to be. And this is what I mean about setting a set meal plan means, okay, this is what you eat for the next 14 days. You don't worry about other foods. You've removed that friction of, oh, should I have this or should I have this? Should I eat at this time or this time? You remove that and you go, you just execute. And the more you can do that during that initial phase, you're just going to be building those habits. And then that is going to allow you to keep moving forward over the long term. So you should be thinking about instilling good habits and behaviors that you can sustain over the long term during these initial 14 days, and then worry about the bells and whistles later on.
Yeah, people think the bells and whistles are what they want at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. But the reality is you can never set a clean structure if you're always having to think about something new each day. If you've gotten used to how to cook a certain meal, and then 3 days later, you're learning a new one. You're just constantly in that decision-making process, constantly wondering how to even shop. These sorts of things, right at the beginning of a journey, there's so many things you're trying to learn. You don't want to have extra decisions there. Simple things like shopping. Shopping is it's probably one of the biggest ones. Like you're learning how to shop again. Like something we've done for years and years and years. You're like, actually, I need to relearn how to food shop. I need to relearn how to cook. I need to relearn how to structure my day. I need to relearn how to move and think and eat and everything. There's so many things you're relearning. It's the ultimate reset of life. So if you don't add these non-negotiables, limit these decisions and set yourself up for success with simple habits in a day, you're going to make everything harder for yourself. And you're never going to find something that you're never going to get into that rhythm where things start to work and then momentum starts to build to actually see some results. Because if you mess this first month up, it's very difficult to recover it. I think we can always tell who's going to do well and who's not going to do well by that first month.
Momentum's everything. And I think that's why I actually put a post in the private group about this recently, was once you've got your initial baseline plans, whatever it is, just do it. Like, you have to put it into action. You can literally sit around for the next month, like literally throughout the whole of January, tweaking things. All right, this is my meal plan. Okay, I've got potato, or actually I should have sweet potato because it's slightly higher in this nutrient than this. Or actually, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should, my training programs 8 to 10 reps. I've heard 7 to 9 is better. You can like look at all of these things. Or like walking in the morning's better, but I can only walk in the evening. Like, if you just ponder all of those things and you just don't do anything, you don't actually change. And none of those differences really make much of a difference. But even if they did, it's only going to make a difference if you implement it. So this is why we say, just like, especially with the clients we work with, let's just get the ball rolling. We've given you great plans that work, but they're not going to be necessarily 100% perfect, but they're going to get you moving. Once you're moving, then we can start tweaking things, whether it is like the potato. Actually, I prefer sweet potato. Okay, that's fine. Like, after a couple of weeks, like, we can start making these kind of tweaks, but you have to just get the ball rolling and get your journey on its way to then find out what is perfect. Because even if you sit for a whole month like trying to figure it all out, you won't actually be able to work it out until you start doing it anyway.
Done is better than perfect. And everyone who's starting in January right now, you've got a unique and proven blueprint that works, but we can only give you the blueprint. The execution's on you. And the biggest differentiator between someone who succeeds and fails on this is always, always, always execution. But nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You can think about it all day long until you actually put in the work and the action over time. Nothing's going to happen. And like I said, that it's that first month that breeds the momentum for the next 9, 10, 11, next couple of years. Some people can mess up their next few years just by messing up this month.
And like when we say mess up, this doesn't mean like, if you can't eat your meal plan 100% for one day because you had to go out, or there was an emergency or something, that doesn't mean you failed. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you've everything, you have to go back to day one. That's not the point. The thing is, moments like that are going to pop up. It's just that you need to understand that, okay, you ask yourself in those situations, okay, what is the best thing I can do here now? I don't, just because I can't eat exactly to my meal plan, can I find something that is similar to what I would be having at this time anyway, or whatever that issue is. You don't have to just go, oh, well, I can't have this meal, therefore I may as well just blow the whole day. I'll start CTP again tomorrow. It's not black and white, right? Like, this CTP phase is about, it's not about the foods that you are eating in this phase. There's nothing magical about them. There's nothing more muscle building or more fat lossy. It's more about the foods and the meal plan and everything. All the strategies that we've given you, this is all for you to just implement now, and just for you to get into the habit of eating at set meal times, looking at trying to get protein and veggie with each meal, prioritizing your training, prioritizing your steps, finding gaps within your day where you can go for walks. This whole initial 2-week period is about setting that precedent. And again, it's like literally building the foundation for your home. Okay, if you want your home to be this beautiful, robust, massive mansion or whatever, it all starts from a really strong, solid foundation. The more solid that foundation is, which is your CTP phase, the more things that you can put on top of that house later down the line. And this is what we mean. If you don't set that foundation in the first couple of weeks, you're going to just start piling bricks and roofs on top of this thing, but eventually it's going to collapse because it's not stable. And we see this happen more. We don't see this happen as much anymore, but it's something that we used to see a lot, and yeah, I'm sure other people can relate that are listening to this.
But what you mean to say is this is why we built this phase. It's because
correct.
Without this phase, that's what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is why it's there. It's not there to be boring. It's there to set yourself up for the future. Ultimately, you've got 5 things to do in the day or in the week. You've got to train 3 to 5 times a week. You've got to find 45 minutes to train 3 to 5 times a week. You've got to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night or whatever works for you. You've got to drink about 2 to 4 liters of water, depending on where you're at. You've got to take 8 to 10,000 steps a day, and you've got to eat on plan.
Yep.
Most of these things you're already doing. You're already eating, so you just need to eat it better. you're already probably walking maybe 4,000 or 5,000 steps. You just need to add an extra time there. You're already sleeping. So you either need to sleep a bit more or just continue with doing what you're doing. You're probably already drinking water. So instead of having 1 liter that you might be having, just have 2 liters. And the only one that really might be new if you're not doing it at all, but probably you're doing in some capacity is training. So it's not like, when you think about it that way, there's not huge changes that need to be done. You just need to get on with it.
No. It's you're only going to make small changes every single month, AV. You can't make these drastic changes, right?
And this is the other problem. It's like, when you get that,
I know,
that whole ethos of, all right, let's just change one thing at a time. Right. So I'm just going to work on sleep this month. Then I'll work on hydration. That's great when you've got all your foundations laid in place and you're well further on in the journey when you want to optimize certain things. When you're at the stage you are now, you need to make a radical change, because that's where you see results. But secondly, you actually develop momentum. And it just comes back to that laying the bricks foundation. You can lay the bricks rather than working on one side of the house and leaving the other side.
Yeah. But also, all of that foundation actually works together to hold itself up. It's like, if you just focus on sleep, well, if you're massively overweight and your diet is terrible, you're never moving. Even if you make your bedroom like this perfect bat cave for sleeping, you get the temperature right, you set your alarm, you're still not going to sleep that well because your body is in a terrible state, like internally. And that's not, I'm not even talking about aesthetics. But if you start improving it from like what you're putting into your body, you're actually moving around more, just those two things alone is going to help with sleep, as well as actually having some more structure around it. Same with you throw in kind of nutrition in terms of that as well. They're all going to have this cumulative effect. They're just going to enhance all of the areas from each other.
So if you break down those 5 things, you've got 5 non-negotiables you need to fit into your week, most of which you're already doing, just needs optimizing. You've got to limit decision fatigue by, once you nail those non-negotiables, just stick with it. Don't think you need to try something new every week. And then you need to look at your routine. So you have some set precursors in the day. So for example, you might do your gym in the morning, and to make it easier for yourself, you keep your gym kit next to your bed when you wake up. It's just simple things like that. Or give me a few more. Oh,
yeah.
Just go
like I don't know. But
walking calls, like whatever the thing is.
Exactly. Or stacking old habits with new habits, right?
Yeah. Just give a few, just for the listeners to implement.
So, well, for me anyway, personally, when my son's in his like evening routine, me and my wife are kind of like swapping in and out. I'll do food with him, then she'll go take him for a bath. When he's in the bath, I get all my clothes ready for the next day in terms of like gym. And I get my work stuff, laptop, I bring it all downstairs so it's on the table. So when I get up the next morning, it's there and ready to go.
That's as simple as it. It's almost like I was trying to think of what a pre, but it's so simple. You often don't even think about these things. Yeah. Once they're in place, but that's the thing. They should be so simple that they just trigger an action. Gym clothes next to the bed, laptop ready for work.
Precursors. These are all precursors.
Water bottle on your desk all the time. These sorts of things, like people struggling. I can't drink 3 liters of water a day. They just put a 1 liter bottle on your desk and make sure you fill that up 3 times, or even better, put 3 1 liter bottles there. Make sure they're all finished by the end of the day. Just simple things like this can make such a difference. Every time you get a call, go for a walk.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say with what you said about the call. Steps can be integrated into your normal life. Like when I go and pick my son up from childminder, there's another mum who's always there, and she always drives. I always walk, and I live twice as far away. And she was telling me one time, I need to go out this afternoon, this evening. I can't be bothered. I've got to go out for a walk, trying to do this whole steps thing. I've got a Fitbit. I don't give her advice because she's not asking me for advice. But I was just thinking, you've driven here. Why don't you just walk here? Then you wouldn't have to go for your walk later tonight. When it's cold and dark, and you don't want to. Like, these are the kind of things that you can just integrate into life, like walk to the gym if it's walkable, these kind of stuff. Next thing you know, you probably hit 8K steps.
Yeah. Walking is integrate your walking into your day, because that's probably one that people think, how am I going to walk 10,000 steps a day? I only do 4 now. Once you do 10, it's like, I can easily do 15. And the momentum just builds. This is the thing, like once you get that initial momentum, you start thinking bigger and you start thinking what you can really do. And that's where the best results come from. And that's why this first bit is so key.
Even if you work in an office, say 8 hours a day, right? If you just get up at the end of every hour for like 5 minutes, get a glass of water, walk around the office or whatever, that can accumulate to 45 minutes of walking just in the office, which depending on how fast you walk could literally be like 4,000 or 5,000 steps. That's half your day done just by getting up at the end of every hour. You know, and you know, research is showing that going for a break every hour is very productive. You come back fresh, you know, all that good stuff. So you can tell your boss that, even be like, hey, I'm going for my steps because it makes me better at my job. So maybe don't say that, but you know, but again, there's just ways. There are ways you can do it. It's so simple.
Yeah, once you lock these 3 S's in, so you have the right structure in your day and your week, you have the right strategy to get everything done, and you have the right systems in place to make sure it feels as easy as possible. Once they're in place, everything is just smooth sailing. And from then on, I think that's probably like one of the hardest bits of the journey until you get to the position where you're in the grind, where you have to really get those last bits of body fat off, and then consolidation, and then probably let more. The next sort of harder bit is probably like deeper into investment. But once you get
it all starts in CTP.
It all starts in CTP. No, you never see a failed CTP end well.
Nope.
No, definitely.
And I think we can finish on. Go on, Ed.
So I was just going to say that these initial changes will feel tough. I know we're saying like put in precursors so it feels easy. Like they will feel, this will get really, it will improve so much within the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like when you're a month into your journey, things will feel automated. You'll be like, how did I ever not drink like sufficient amount of water a day? How was I ever not training? Like these will just become just part of your daily thing. Like we don't have to think about, oh, I need to go to the gym tomorrow. It's like, if you didn't go to the gym tomorrow, it'd be like, it'd feel weird, like you've missed the session. This is the same for like most of our clients who've been with us for like longer periods of time. The first week, it is going to feel weird that you changed your daily routine massively. Like even if we just change our routine, like Akash, you've gone from like morning train to evening training, and it does feel a bit weird for a couple of days. And now you come back again.
I've actually gone back again, yeah.
But like for the first couple of days, it feels a little bit weird, but then you kind of get used to it. So if you have made these big overhauls in terms of like your lifestyle, it's going to feel a bit weird. It's probably going to feel a bit intimidating. And I think that's totally normal. But just know that it will get easier, not only day by day, but like on a week by week basis. It's going to be completely different. And that's where I think you just need to just make sure you're nailing this period and don't get too worried about, you've got this checkpoint target. It probably seems like a daunting number at the moment, all of these things further down the line. If you just nail CTP, you're going to be in a great position to then go on to the next stuff to get, to progress on.
Remember, if you're trying lots of different things, the reason why we say limitless and fatigue, just get on with it, is because if you want different results than what you've achieved before, you need to do something different. What you've done before has not worked. So you need to adopt a proven philosophy that works. And that's why just sticking to it and going for it is the most important thing. And just on the thing around morning training, evening training, like these things don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Ultimately, just, again, done is better than perfect. Just get it done. Then you can worry about optimizing what works for you. Because you might think, all right, you know what, I probably should do it in the morning, because every time I try and do it in the evening, there's something gets in the way and I never get the session done. So then, move it to the morning. But at the beginning, just find a time that you can commit to and just go for it. And for many of you, it may just be the morning, because for that very reason of things get in the way, or you don't want to worry about having to fit it in later on in the day, which, by the way, is the reason why I've flipped back again. It's like, it's a priority now, right? I need to be back in the game. So it's like, because now physical health is now probably gone from like third priority to number one again. I was like, okay, it just makes sense to do it first thing in the morning. That way there's nothing that can get in the way of it.
And I think this is a good glimpse into what can happen in the future, right? Like when you have been doing this for so long, like you can adjust your routine very easily without too much hassle. Yeah, as Ed said, it does feel a bit weird or whatnot, but it's not so weird that it just destroys your entire day. You're more robust to routine changes once you have your things established, right? Once your foundations are set in stone, there's actually very little harm in just moving them around when you need to.
And just give people a glimpse of like what the reward phase could be in the future. It's when like you're in good shape year round, and when you decide to diet, like I'm deciding to diet right now, it's not because you've lost control. It's not because you've gained a bunch of weight. It's because you just want to test yourself again. And then all you need to do is just flip that internal switch from maintenance to everything's on the ground. That's it. That's the only difference between what I was doing a couple of weeks ago and what I'm doing now. And that's what you can get to if you go through this journey. And it's not going to happen in 12 weeks. So you'll make a significant dent in 12 months. But ultimately, this journey is a long-term one that takes 2 to 3 years at least to really embed and get into that sort of reward phase where you're in the shape of your life, you're in complete control, and you're always looking and performing your best. then it's just a case of dialing up and down muscle building or fat loss.
Yeah, it's a great place to be, right? You free yourself physically to be able to do everything else in your life. We've always said this, right? Like, this is one issue that we see that just really drowns people, right? They're constantly this yo-yo dieting, like they hate themselves. You know what I mean? They hate they hate that they cannot get in shape and stay there. Like, it's such a thing that just seems to be destroying people's lives. And that may sound a bit exaggerated, but so many people are so unhappy with themselves because of that, right?
Yeah.
Because they haven't got the tools or the know-how to actually stay in shape, meaning that so much like cognitive resources goes to fad diets, fad movements, what their friends are doing, and much less cognitive capacity to really focus on other important things in their life.
Yeah, when you're always worried about, can I fit into these clothes or not? Am I going to wear white or black? These things are real problems.
Small slimming.
Yeah, these are real problems, right? And we've all been there. But
yeah,
it takes a journey to get there. And it all starts, if we just kind of bring it back to the topic of the time, it all starts with CTP. It all starts with laying down the foundation. And CTP, just think of it as like a reset of like resetting yourself to optimal. And you can do a CTP reset. Like if you're listening to this and you've been on the journey for a long time, you can use CTP as a reset to kind of just, if you've gone, if you slipped some bad habits, if some things have crept in, or you just want to knuckle down on a new goal, you can use CTP as a reset to kind of get back to where you want to be.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think especially this time of year, if over, the Christmas time, normally you would just fit your gym sessions in kind of around work, but they kind of start to drop off. Now is the time just to book them in again as business meetings, time to start meal prepping. So yeah, just get everything locked back in again.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, a couple of days, I'm 4 days in, and like, I can't even, it's funny how like once the switch flips, it's like there's nothing else on the radar, is it? It's like, that's it. Like suddenly the peanut butter is back to 10 grams again. And that 10, mate, the first time I did it, I pulled it across. I was like, oh, I need to stop halfway through and pour the rest back in there. Forgot what 10 grams looked like. And then the sneaky bit is that, like you normally you put 10 grams there
on the spoon.
Then you just dump the spoon inside the bowl normally. Yeah. That's an extra 5 grams in there. And I'm like, actually I've got to wipe that stuff off now. When you're going through peanut butter jars quite regularly, you're in like a good, healthy maintenance place or muscle building. When you're suddenly,
or you need to tighten things up.
Or you need to tighten. When your peanut butter jars lasting 2 months, you're on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, it's exactly right. And just a real quick one. Like I know a lot of people, they, especially in the fitness industry, like I'm sure you guys have seen this too. They really poo-poo like people who you're trying to make a change in the new year. Yeah, like there's like that. I used to be one of them too. It's like, oh, if you really wanted to make a change, why'd you wait December 31st? Just do it now. And it's just like, well, actually, the first of January, the start of the year is like just a fresh start. You know what I mean? Like there's this mental thing that I think happens in a lot of people's minds, right? Especially after Christmas and all the festivity stuff. I think people are in a really good spot to make a change. So I think a lot of people do give a lot of unnecessary shit to New Year's resolutioners, but I think it's a fantastic time to make a change. A lot of them just don't have the tools to do it properly, and that's where they get into the relapse. But
they fall for
I think it's a fantastic time.
Fans.
Exactly, but I think overall, I think it's the best time of the year to make any sort of changes that you really want to make. You just have to have the right strategy to do it.
Because socially, it's probably the most accepted time to do it as well. Because like
least friction ever, isn't it?
Everyone's doing sober January. Everyone's expected to lose to trying to lose weight. So it's like you haven't got any friction as you normally get in November or December or summertime.
Exactly.
There's less socials. It's dark. If you're in the UK, it's dark. Everyone's like
everyone's skint
fed up. Yeah, everyone's broke from going out too much in December. So it's like it's the perfect time. It's the perfect time. And if you're hearing people that are blowing off the New Year's resolutions, they're just doing it to like they're what it is they're too far removed from the situation. They've forgotten. They're just lacking empathy to remember what it's like to be in that situation. It's the perfect time.
And the way I see it though is like just because we've got the fitness thing down packed doesn't mean that we can't apply those New Year's resolution ideas to other areas of our life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's still very hard for us.
I've set myself like 3 things I'm trying to work on right now. I'm like, all right, what
me too.
I'm like, we'll go to yours in a sec. Well, you go first. We'll go around the room. We'll go around the room.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, look, if I'm doing a body transformation right now in terms of fat loss, you're going to be, as the weeks go by, your mind is going to get sharper and sharper and sharper, and you just know it's just the perfect time to just work on some stuff, right? So I thought, I obviously explored a lot of meditation in 2021. And then like what I've realized is when work gets busy, I let the habits slip a bit, and then I notice my mind races a lot. So one habit is making sure 20 minutes a day is locked in, because I know it just helps my mental health so much. Yeah. And then the second one is I've been getting a lot into like old books recently, like like really old books. So like I started reading Sun Tzu Art of War recently. I don't know if you guys read this, but it's quality.
I've heard it. It's amazing.
So just exploring like old scriptures and old like timeless principles from over the age. So that 10 pages a day. Not setting myself some like massive target. And the third one is doing my just resetting the bar on at least 30 to 60 minutes of activity unplugged. So I used to always have this non-negotiable of 30 minutes walking unplugged, but then I started doing a lot of my walks with my wife, which obviously like it is unplugged, but it's not really unplugged, right? So when I'm doing this, one of the hardest things, I can't believe how hard it is doing 30 minutes on the stepper unplugged. I find walking on the machines really boring, and I probably understand why now, especially if you've got nothing going on in your ears. It's like you just got to sit, you just got to like watch that clock go down. So I put the hoodie on top of the monitor so I don't look at the time. But that's like hard 30 minutes. They feel like 3 hours when I'm on there. I've done it 4 times already, but it feels it's getting easier each time, and it feels really good. I come off it, I feel so like clear-headed, feel really good. I feel ready for the day. I did it this morning. I felt like I did 30 minutes of hard work this morning. So that's it. That's those 3 things.
You reckon you'll keep that in the grind?
Well, I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, I don't know if the stepper's a grind tool, but it might just be. I might just switch to fast walking then. But let's see. Let's see. It's not an easy thing, is it? Like you're burning 350 calories according to the machine anyway.
I think
it's hard work.
Yeah, I think in a diet, a stepper, for me anyway, like the cost of like fatigue to calories, like it isn't great. I don't.
It's probably good right now. But I'll
like
probably change it in Feb.
But anyway, just for anyone listening, the stepper is not going to fine tune your glutes or like carve out or tone your glutes.
Yeah, but we still do it though, right? I still for a couple of minutes, I'll still lean over a bit more and like trying to push through my glute mass. But anyway, I'll be doing those 3 things. Just like all right, let's really try and sharpen the mind, still the mind a bit more, just calm. Because what I was finding is towards the end of the last year, I was probably working overdrive, and because of that you obviously just feel anxious all the time. You're always like go, wake up, bang, you're on it, right? And your mind's just constantly racing. I'm sure you guys can relate to this, where you're just constantly like a million miles an hour in your head, and it's like that voice in your head just it's like crazy monkeys going on in there, right? So it's like obviously just need to reset and just calm it again. And what I was finding, especially because I moved training again in the morning, I'm like, I've got no inbound for so long that I'm just like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like I'm almost going a bit mad. Like just like not, does that make sense? Like you're just like, you're exercising unplugged. You got your shower, you're getting ready, you make a coffee. It's like 9 a.m. in the morning, and you're like, your mind is like, it wants to just go, but you're like saying, just calm down, mate. Your time's coming. Yeah. And then once you go, you're like, bang, you're in. So that's been really interesting. That coupled with getting a personal phone has helped just carve out a bit more boundaries.
Yeah, that morning cardio is just such a fantastic mental boost, Yeah. Like it's amazing, right? Like you can see how it can become very addictive though.
Yeah. When you said, because I in my mind, I was like, I'm going to do something every day. And then Ed was like, I do 4 weight training, 2 cardio. I was like, well, that kind of screws my routine. What's the day off going to be? What am I going to do on the day off?
Yeah. A fast walk.
Yeah, but
in that same.
I don't know about you guys.
Time
when you guys like when you're dieting, I just like doing this. I just like doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
At least I'm going to the gym every day, or I'm doing this every day. Yeah.
That hour is your.
It's the routine, time, right? You just have that routine. You don't want to mess it up with the rest.
Just to put this in context for listeners, Akash was like, whenever I start dieting, I just go all in straight away. So I go like cardio daily, I pull this. That's why I was like, all right, let's just pull it back. You've got a bit of time here. You're pretty lean already.
Oh, the reality is, I have listened to the diet advice. So I'm on 2,400 without veg, right? So probably about 2.5, 2.6, which is a reasonable start. Normally I start about 1,800, right? So
yeah.
So I tell you what, I'm feeling really full on this diet. Like, I get to the end of the day, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I'm
So
starving.
that's actually, sorry, just another good point about CTP potentially. Just to maybe just loop back in quickly on that is, if you've moved from a highly processed kind of average Western diet, your calories are probably very high with relatively low volumes of food. So there wasn't much on your plate, but there was a lot of calories going in. Even if you think you weren't eating many calories, look at your photos, look at your weight on the scales. I don't even mean that to be a dick, but like, it's just, you know, you have to have been consuming a fair amount of calories. Now if you have done it in line with principles that we would preach, and like if you're a client of ours, you're going to have moved to foods that are higher in, or like more nutrient dense, and often when you do that, you're also going to have they're also less calorie dense most of the time. So not for all foods, you know, like nuts and things are still relatively calorie dense, but things like veggies, lean protein sources, the volume you get is going to be relatively large for the amount of calories. So although you could potentially be eating maybe 50% less calories for some of you, maybe the amount of food might have increased by 50% or 100% even. So it is normal to feel very full because you're putting so much more volume into you, even though you are in a calorie deficit if your goal is fat loss. But again, this is something you'll get used to pretty quickly. I think people get so full the first 2-3 days. By the end of like week 1, some people week 2, those complaints just seem to drop off. And then especially once you've got that foundation, and you can then add a bit more tweaks, and we can help guide you with tweaks for what you like with your nutrition a bit more. You can then keep that high nutrient dense food, but without feeling stuffed, and actually keeping calories in line with your goal.
It's even like with training as well. You're going to feel real sore this week. In the first week, you're going to feel real sore, but that's fine. Like, just get through the sessions, and next week after, it'll ease down. You're never going to be as sore as you are on the first week. Yeah, just the way it is, right? Because you've probably not done something like this before. So yeah, those two are probably the most common. Like, it's so predictable. It happens every time. Like, you look in our groups, it's everyone's just talking about how full they are. I always say to people, just make the most of this, right? Because it's not going to last for that long.
Yeah. The thing is, though, they're full but dropping body fat, right?
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves, just real quick, I know we've gone on a few tangents here. You know, the whole mantra of, on a diet you have to be hungry. If you're not hungry, you're just doing it wrong.
Yeah.
No, that is not correct at all, because you can still be hungry eating 4,000 stupid calories a day, right?
Yeah.
You can still be hungry. That's I must be losing body fat because I'm always hungry. No. And there are food plans like what you just said. You're on like 2,400, but you said you feel super full. Yeah. And you're still obviously dropping weight and body fat, right? And are you hungry at all? Is there any like hunger signals or anything like that?
Oh, we're recording this at nearly 1:00, and I haven't even eaten it yet today. So
there you go. There you go. Right. So it just goes to show you like how much like meal architecture, meal timing, how volume plays such a role in managing hunger, right?
Think about my meal. My meal's gone from chicken, rice, and veg, right? And for the same amount of calories, I'm now eating 70 grams of tempeh, 50 grams of edamame spaghetti, 50 grams of rice.
It's a lot.
Veggies and beans as well. Like my plate, I'm using a plate and I'm using a plate and a bowl now. I'm like, this is a lot of food. Before it was just chicken, rice, and veg. Now I'm
welcome to my world, baby.
To Ivan's level,
yeah, it's amazing though, right? I feel like
I'm surprised you haven't explored like beans and legumes and stuff like that.
I have. Yeah. They just wreck my stomach.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it seems to be all right at the moment, but
so, no, they're fantastic for volume. It's really hard to beat a plant-based diet, man. It's like really, really good. Really good for that.
And then my breakfast I'm gonna have now is gonna be 220 grams of tofu scrambled on avocado and toast. That scramble is literally just like it's all over the plate.
That's a lot of tofu.
How do you make that? What's the key to making it a scramble?
Yeah, I just literally slice it up, and then I just hold it in my hand, and then I just like scrunch it, and it all just scrambles. Wow. Yeah, it's really cool. Nice. It tastes like scrambled eggs, exactly like scrambled eggs.
Do you put any seasoning on it?
Yeah, I put turmeric, paprika, and coriander, and a bit of salt. It tastes so good. Like I can't believe, because my biggest fear was dropping the eggs. I was like, we're gonna replace eggs. I'm gonna miss them, but I'm not missing them at all. It tastes really good, and it's super. It's a less than 5 minute meal as well. Like tofu cooks within a pan, 2-3 minutes. Yeah, try it out.
Definitely.
Good volume as well. But yeah, so those are the few. You're going to feel full, you're going to feel sore. It's all normal. It's all part of the game. The main thing right now is you want to just fire up the flywheel as much as possible. This is the time to build the momentum. This is the time to set yourself up for the year. If you want to get into incredible shape and get the best results you've ever done, this CTP phase, this first month of the year is the most critical. This is what sets you up for the future. So listen to this podcast on repeat for this week on your steps. Read all the literature around cleaning the palate, and know that if you follow these principles, you're going to set yourself up for incredible success. Oh, by the way, Ivan, what was your things? While we're here, what were your things?
Yeah, just posting more of our stuff. I'm actually going to try use social media just to promote us.
I noticed that. I was like,
that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do, because I've never been on social media. I've never done anything social media wise, and I don't know. I was just like, I had this moment of realization a couple of days ago. I was like, man, I love this company. I love working for this company, and I love you guys. And I want everyone to hear and see what we do. Even for the two followers that I do have, you know, they're going to be exposed.
Your mom's going to be loving it.
Yeah, she is. She's already congratulating me. She's like, yeah, it's great results. So yeah, it's going to be just, that's all I'm going to use the social media stuff for, is literally just promoting us. That's
RNT Australia, here we come.
Agreed. So
your mom's our biggest fan. She's always
I know.
It took me a while to even realize who it was, and then when it clicked, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Commenting on my wedding pictures and all sorts, and then I was like, oh, it's then I clicked on her profile once, and she's like, yeah, my world, and she had a picture of you and her and you.
Yeah, she gets a bit weird. But yeah, so that's definitely my thing for over this coming year. And again, very low barrier to entry, very low friction. It's just literally posting what you guys put up. Be like, boom, this is what we do. Everyone have a look. Like, it's very easy, very simple. Like, I've always been against social media for some reasons, I don't know, but you know, I'm going to try to open myself up a bit more to that. And yeah, just booking appointments with friends versus just being like, hey, yeah, let's catch up willy-nilly. It's just like, no, hey, let's do this on a Saturday at 3 p.m.
So making time, not just trying to find it.
Correct.
Book it in.
Exactly.
Always the
leaning in to hanging out with people.
Ed, you doing anything new?
My main thing was really just to put a bit more focus on some of the self-care stuff. So, I mean, like training, nutrition, that's kind of all pretty locked in, but and none of it gets really bad. But I think what you summed it up when you said like the anxiety side of things, like just trying to switch your head off. Yeah. When you said it, I was like, actually, he's just described that exactly what I was want to move more and more away from.
Try some meditation.
Yeah, no, I think
I
think I probably should,
because you got a similar personality type, but all three of us are like with racing minds. It's like the hardest thing to do is just to actually sit with it. Like the voice in your head is just like.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, that is literally in my head right now. So yeah, that was the aim. I'll be honest, like we're a little bit into Jan, and it's been a bit of a, you know, it's just nature of what we do. You know, January is just a busy time. So I'd say I'm probably in the camp of the people who haven't made it to the gym on their New Year's resolutions yet. But no, that's definitely something that is one of the things shouting at me in my head at the moment, and someone I do plan on actioning. And making that a focus this year, because I think that's, everything else is in a good place, but that's just going to keep me in that good place to be able to keep doing everything else. So that's the main one for me.
I'm in the same boat as Ed, by the way. So yeah, completely agree. It's that and like dreaming of emails, right? Or dreaming of the inbox. Those, you know when that starts to happen, it's like, okay, something needs to change here.
It's hard.
Real quick, AB, your meditation guy, was his name Naval Ravikant? Is that the guy you've always been talking about?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a meditation expert. I know. He just said that a good way to start is just sit on your chair for 60 minutes and just think of it as
his whole like ethos on life is just
it's brilliant,
incredible.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. I remember you mentioned him a while ago, and I just recently, like, it's funny how you hear things through a different medium and then you go listen to it, and then I was like, oh, hey, AV actually talking about this guy like months ago.
This one guy who Joe Rogan.
Yes, because this one guy who I like, someone asked him, what's been your most influential podcast for the last 2 years? And he goes, Naval Ravikant, 100%.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I've heard that name before. So I looked him up, and then I listened to him on Joe Rogan, and the whole conversation, I was just like,
he's such an amazing thinker. He's such an amazing thinker. But he talks about like literally just sitting there and not being too like strategic about it. And
No.
his best way is, and I analyzed it, was like, if you do it long enough, you basically go to inbox zero.
Yeah.
Because like right now your head's like an inbox. It's like 150 emails coming in and out all the time, and after a while the goal is to get to inbox zero, but that takes a long time, and that takes a lot of calmness and stillness. But
yeah,
it's definitely the journey. I think once you nail your physical, it's just moving up the pillars, right? You know that the 5 pillars, you've got physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or 4 pillars. No, social and then spiritual. But you just go up the pillars, right? Once you know your physical foundation, then you can work on all these things. If you want to try and meditate your way to get into shape, that will never happen. Once you've locked down that's why we always say like that's what mindfulness is missing. But if you lock down the physical, then you can start working on the other layers, because your physical is the vehicle up the pillars, but your body is a representation of the mind. So no matter what you're doing up there, it'll always represent downwards. But the best way to work on all the other things is to start off with the physical, which is again why the cleaning the palate is so important. Trying to use spirituality to get into shape is not going to happen. But once you lock these things in, then you can explore the other things with better
clarity.
Because you've knuckled down on like the most important thing, which is the physical. That's your carrier, that's the vehicle, the chariot, whatever you want to call it, to then unlock everything else. So Ed, I'd highly recommend it. Just try 60 minutes, like try on the weekend, because you don't like throw yourself.
I was going to say, am I allowed to log off for 60 minutes now? Is that all right?
Try it this afternoon. Like if you want, just try 60 minutes. Just sit in your armchair, put an alarm for 60 minutes. Don't do anything. Like don't try and think about anything. Don't try and say, oh, I need to try to focus on my breath. Like don't put a crutch in there. Just literally just let your mind wander, and it's going to take you on a journey. Like you'll be all over the place, man. It's quite a scary thing to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll probably be freaking out.
Let's all do it.
Yeah, you're twiddling your thumbs and like shaking your legs and all sorts, but like you just want to be comfortable in that. But even now, it's like super hard. Like I don't know if you read my reflections for the year, but I gave like 8 points of meditation, and some of the things were like, the busier you get, the more you need it. You know, you've probably seen that proverb, like, yeah, I was meant to have 20 minutes meditation, but I don't have time, so I need to make 60 minutes. Like it's these sorts of things. The more I do it, the more I can detach from my thoughts as well. You realize you're not your thoughts, right? You're the person behind it. Like this analogy of like the sky and the clouds. So it's just the more you do it, the more you tune into that. But it's such a journey, man. You realize you're like, oh, we've been on this fitness journey. It's taken us 10 years to crack. It's like, oh, there's a whole new world to explore. Trying to master the mind is another thing. Anyway, I've gone a complete tangent there. Bottom line is, clean the palate now, and you can worry about these things later.
And meditate later.
Join Ed in therapy next year.